Hello again, Gavin here from Hollow Ground Productions. And today, due to popular demand, we are going to do some jazzy, vinyl, dusty, deep house. Let's have a listen to the reference track. This track is called The Jupiter Song by Felipe Gordon. It has these lovely 5-note jazzy chord stabs. It's got an organic sounding bass, and it's got lovely warm organic drums, and it also has an analog sounding bass. I like to do a bit of EQ sweeping just to listen to particular fundamentals whenever I'm listening to a reference track. Okay, so let's dive in and let's start working on the drums. I'm going to be sampling a lot of my drums from vinyl. This comes from a track called Drums by Leseman, a real cool jazzy track. 4 to the floor, and then put in a triplet beat. I'm going to use a layered clap using a clap from a track by Fouk. And another clap from a Vengeance pack, a little bit of room reverb and a bit of erosion to give it a bit nice high end. Make sure you pan one of them left and one of them right. Let's stick with the Fouk track to find a nice hi-hat. Make sure the notes are very slightly off grid. You need to have a nice organic, real feel swing to this genre. Automate the decay time so each hit sounds slightly different. Again, pan one hi-hat left and one right and put reverb on the one on the right. Use a 909 hi-hat on the offbeat to add extra groove. Don't forget to put a little bit of small room reverb to this. And then finally, a trusty 909 hat. Sounding really good. Okay, so now let's move on to the bass. Let's get a YouTube sample of some jazz piano and upright bass. After spending 5 minutes searching the whole thing, I found this really nice loop. Here it is without audio effects, and here it is with. Make sure you cut off all the highs. For that octave jumping bass, we're going to use the square wave, and you follow this MIDI line. Make sure you have some envelope on the filter. Boost the bass. FabFilter is a really, really good thing to use for this. Okay, so that's the bass done. Now let's move on to the... I've tried to follow the MIDI notes as accurately as possible. It's a 6-note MIDI chord in D minor, and then it goes up 6 semitones. It's a saw wave with noise unison. I put swing 1685 in the groove pool, and now I go in and carve away the notes to create the melody. Go in and move a bunch of notes off grid to give it the feeling that you're playing. Put the filter envelope to about 70, then you go into the envelope itself and give it a bit of attack. Because if it has no attack, it has that spiky sound. You don't want that. Check out my manipulatable macros. I can manipulate the frequency, the sustain time, the release time, and also the dry wet on the reverb. Now let's add a saw lead for the breakdown. We're going to create a wah-wah lead. Here are the notes for the D minor scale. Now to create the wah-wah effect, you're going to have to make sure that it's in mono with a bit of glide. Then you pull the filter down and look at the auto filter settings. You have to have a mount on the LFO and use a sine shaper. So I can manipulate the filter and the LFO rate. Cool, so now it's time for us to move on to the... Let's pull a Fender Rhodes sample from YouTube. That sounds really good. Let's put it in. Not even going to change the key. OTT maximizes the brightness. Cut off the lows and boost the highs. Cool, let's get a jazz drum sample. Yep, it sounds really good. We're going to put that in. I found a loop and I made sure that it was in the right BPM for this. and then I looped it around. This is sounding really classy. I'm going to use this for the interlude. Felipe Gordon didn't do this with his track, but screw it, we're going to do it with ours. Let's put in some random bongos. I decided to snap it to the grid, put a bit of delay on it. Add some effects, cut off the highs. I also found some drumsticks samples, again using a bit of delay, cutting off the highs. Just a bit of texture. Nice. Cool, okay, so it's time to chuck in some...
more albums.
I don't know, Tupac being interviewed. Maybe good. Yeah, whatever, let's just do that. I'm gonna cut out the highs and put it in mono, just give that retro feel.
I believe strongly that my audience...
Oh yeah, I forgot there's this vocal offbeat stab in the drums, so I'm just going to use Michael Jackson for this. Yes. Okay, so now we're flying. Time to have a look at the arrangement. First thing I want to do is I want to show you a basic master channel, which I like to put in as I'm listening to it. I use a lot of FabFilter things. I use the Pro Q3 to begin with in order to get rid of what I consider to be really piercing frequencies, but it's very, very gentle. Then there's a slow glue, which acts slow to catch the bass and fast to catch the highs. Multi-band compressor, again, very, very gentle settings. I don't want to do anything too extreme at this point. Saturn is really good to offer some high harmonics. I use clean tube on the bass and then warm tube on the other two in order to boost the harmonics. One more Pro Q, getting rid of the sibilance and the knock. And then L2, and I push it high enough but not too high. Okay, so let's listen to the arrangement. At this point, you should watch me as I make changes on the fly. I might edit some of the MIDI, I might add some envelope, or I'll be changing the volume as I go along as well. Cool. I think Felipe Gordon would be proud there. The samples of all of these videos are always available. You can go to the Jazzy Deep House sample pack in Hologram Productions Bandcamp, and you can check out any particular samples, buy the whole pack or just buy individual samples. Anytime people pay for these and it shows up on my PayPal, it encourages me to keep going, and it also helps me finance my continuing to do this channel as it slowly builds. So do please support. It's a new channel on the build, and it will require all the support it can get. Thank you for the support I've had so far. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you all next time.